This is what we see at Daytona and Talladega. These trucks are glued together and racing all over each other.
Look at Hornaday dive to the bottom to make it side by side for the lead.
Side by side. Ron Hornaday
on
the
crash.
up into the wall.
Busher.
James Busher in the wall.
Brian Scott with him.
The 16 of Brian Scott and that Albertson's Toyota Tundra, and the caution flag comes out for the first time today.
It almost looked like they got hooked together.
And I bet you the truck on the bottom, Busher, got a little bit sideways. I was just waiting for that to happen. We've seen guys dance around quite a lot.
Take another look. Here was 3 wide. Kyle Busch to the outside, and this was earlier when it looked like Kyle was going to get into the wall.
Then there's a little bit of contact with the 6 of Colin Brown and the 10 of James Busher. And then remember we saw the 30 of Todd Bodine possibly squeeze the 51 into the outside wall. Let's see what happens here. Todd gets sideways and has to chase his truck, and that's why Kyle got into the outside wall. And here comes the incident between James Busher and Brian Scott just a few moments ago.
This is a huge hit. You can see Busher down on the inside of Johnny
Saunders. Gets completely sideways.
Gets loose and overcorrects, and wham, Brian Scott minding his own business and gets taken right into the wall. That happened. That came close to happen 3 or 4 times already, Phil, and finally it got away from Busher. Let's check this out in real time. Look at this hit these guys take.
See him completely sideways, and then he just turns hard right, catches Brian Scott. Absolute innocent victim right there.
Yep, right into the safer barriers, and thank goodness for those safer barriers.
Look at the debris scattering after that. Watch these trucks hit. Wham!
Thank goodness for that softer wall with the safer barrier. Adam, what's going on with Brian Scott? Is he okay?
Those 2 trucks involved in this incident, bringing out our first caution at Michigan International Speedway. A bit of the aerodynamic help. Falling in behind the 51, letting the 51 break the air. Great problems on the racetrack.
There's Hornaday involved.
Hornaday, as well as the 60 of Stacy Compton, and into the wall. It looks like the 07 potentially of Chad McCumbee.
Hornaday's going to get away without a lot of damage, Phil.
Yeah, that's Delana, truck owner right there. Stacy Compton, tremendous amount of damage to that Safe Auto Melling Toyota. Hope neither one of those guys was speeding, but here's how this incident started here.
Oh, wow.
Down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Looked like McCumbee.
That was actually Hornaday. Looked like he got on the inside of that yellow line, and it sent him up the racetrack.
McCumbee cut across in front of Hornaday. It took Hornaday's angle away. He slowed down, and Stacy Compton just drove right in the back of him. I'm not sure. Looked like Hornaday was at a reduced speed when he went down into turn 1. This is after it already happened. That first look gives us a pretty good idea what happened. For some reason, McCumbee felt like he had Hornaday cleared and drove straight to the bottom and turned himself sideways.
Now take a look at this one more time. That look
watch
we were
as
talking
they enter
about earlier.
Watch as they enter 1 here, Phil. You can see.
They'll come into your screen
right here, right in there.
Hornaday's right on the bottom, and there goes McCumbee cutting across Hornaday's front, and Hornaday up the hill.
Yeah, it was a deal of McCumbee coming down the hill, Hornaday going up the hill, and then they met with the 23 Jason White. He had to get it out of the throttle. He lost 2 truck lengths.
Look at Skinner. We watched him march from the back earlier down on the bottom of the racetrack. One of the few trucks that'll do that. He and Colin Brown. Oh, no!
The 15 of Eichler gets into the back of the 24 and sliding back in front of the field, and now we've got a couple other trucks that have tied up.
Got clipped.
Man, Skinner did an awesome job missing that crash.
David Starr in the 24, Johnny Sauter in the 13, caught up in this. The 15 of Eichler, it looked like he had to chase that truck up and got back into the back of the 24. Hornaday will be back on the lead lap.
You can see here.
Watch the 15 of Brian Eichler. He's going to slide up the racetrack, make contact with David Starr in the 24. Now look at all the smoke. We can see Mike Skinner. Mike Skinner couldn't see anything but smoke.
He clipped the 24 truck a little bit, it looked like.
Got through it. You see the 30 made some contact, or had some contact made from the 13. The 17 of Timothy Peters also with some damage to that truck.
Watch this black truck down on the bottom. He doesn't have any prayer of getting underneath that 24 truck, so he goes high and makes it.
Did he lock the brakes up?
It looks like
Definitely.
he locked the brakes up, and maybe that's what turned that truck right, and it worked out for him.
Take another look.
This is what Mike Skinner right here saw.
Or didn't see.
Or didn't see.
I got the 30. 30's on the outside.
He just knows that.
In front of it.
Wow. He just knows that 24 truck's going to come straight down.
In front of Colin Brown, and that actually is a pass. I had mentioned earlier that Kyle won the race.
J.R. Fitzpatrick, around he goes.
In front of the traffic. He slides into the wall. Let's see if everyone stays away as he tries to keep it
Pretty hard.
in the middle of the track. Sure enough, J.R. Fitzpatrick, a lot of damage to that race truck.
racing side by side with Terry Cook. Terry gets on the outside of JR. He goes to cut under Dennis Setzer, and it's just going to take the wind away from him a little bit. Phil made a bit of an abrupt move down to the inside of Setzer.
Todd Bodine barely avoided Jarrett Fitzpatrick as he slid back up into the outside wall.
Anytime you hit on that left side, it's just violent. Watch him try to cut underneath the red truck there, Dennis Setzer, and the thing just got away from him.
Just about had it saved, and then the right front caught and turned it back into the outside wall.
You know, from up here in the booth, you can always be the armchair quarterback, but you'd think, boy, if he would have just kept it locked down to the left, he had all that concrete, he could have slid.
In front of you. Carry to the outside, go low, keep digging.
Nice job by Mike Swain, Mike Skinner's spotter.
So 5 cautions early on in this one. We're past the halfway point. We've completed 64 laps. We'll be back for more green flag racing from Michigan.